welcome back. It's Christine again with the Artist Pod, and today we'll actually be talking about how to make brush presets in Photoshop. This can be really useful if you're looking to increase your workflow. So especially with something like fur, right? There's a lot of little details that go into it. It would make it a lot easier to draw fur. I rarely use the brush presets I make, but you can, and it should help, drastically increase the time it would take to draw something, or decrease the time it would take to draw something. So it's just a way to sort of help your workflow. As always, I'm using a Wacom Intros Pro tablet, and I'm drawing straight into Photoshop. So let's get starting. All right, so I actually have words are just failing me today. I have a canvas that I use to create my brushes, and so it's super easy to do. So we're just going to take the brush tool, right? I already have it set to my normal. It's the hard round that is going to respond to the pressure of the stylus. And I'm just going to make, a little brush. Now, just as a side note, when I'm doing these, right, when I'm creating brushes, it's just to sort of make the workflow work better, right? It's to quicken it up. Now, honestly, I don't often use the brushes I make, but I make them. Sometimes I'm like, oh, this will help me speed up, and then I never use them because I like the control of drawing the way that I do, but it takes a while, and if you followed my tutorials for a while, you know it can take a while. So this, if I used a brush preset, would actually speed it up quite a lot. I'm just going to make a quick swipe, right? And then I'm going to select it, free transform, and I'm going to turn it sideways. So there's a reason for that, but otherwise, when I adjust it in the brush settings, and I adjust it to change direction based on my the direction my mouse or pen is going, it won't be sideways as it does it. The way it is now, it'll basically layer it on top instead of changing the tip, but by turning it sideways, it'll actually draw along that edge. So that's why I want to turn it. And then we're going to select it. I'm going to nudge it with the move tool. Turn that off, start a new layer, and then fill it with black. And then I'm going to come down here to define brush preset, right? So this won't work if it's not selected, right? If this isn't selected, then the define brush preset will be grayed out. And I'm going to do that, and we're going to say fur detail brush 2, and hit OK. And you can see it's ready to go because my brush is set to white. So even though I just saved the brush preset as black, it's set to white. Right? I'm going to start a new layer. We can kind of see what's about to happen. So I can either stamp it or I can draw it. Now this isn't exactly what I want. I don't want it to do that because I'm trying to create a fur effect, right? So we're not done. So I'm going to come over here to brush settings. And the first thing I'm going to do is go to brush tip shape. That's here at the very, very, very top above the shape dynamics. And I'm going to increase the spacing. And you can see it separates it out. And then I want it to be able to respond to the direction I'm drawing, otherwise it's not really going to work as fur. So I'm going to come down here to shape dynamics. I'm going to come down here to angle jitter to that control drop down box and change it to direction. Now if I need to adjust the shape, I can, but what that's going to do is that. So you're already getting a little bit more of that fur effect. I can change this if I want to. If I don't think that spacing's enough, I can push that out even further. Or if I think it's good enough, that's also fine, right? But you're getting, and then I don't have to lift my brush up, right? So I can maintain that pressure. So like the hard round brush, you would get just that solid line. So this can work with a lot of different things. But in order for this to save, right, all those changes I just made, I still have to save that. I'm actually going to lower my pin size to 400. See how that looks with that preset. So some of that. Now you can save the pin size or you don't have to save the pin size. Okay. So if I want to save the settings I just made here, I'm going to come up to this brush here, that pin size that I just changed. I'm going to come over here to the toolbox, drop down and say new brush preset. It's going to recognize that I'm working on the fur brush detail that I just made. And you can name it 1, you can name it A, you can rename it completely, and hit OK. That way, all of those changes are now sort of solidified for that brush. That even if I click off of it and back onto it, it'll stay there. Otherwise, it won't. It'll just reset every time you click off the brush. Now we can make this, we can do more. So let's come back up here to brushes. I'm going to go all the way back up to the hard round pressure size, change my size to 15. Go back to my brush preset, start a new layer, and then we can do something like, let's see, just quickly fill in a few details here, right? Create kind of a brush. So this would be the same thing. I would then take it, I don't know if you can see it with my head in the way. Let me move this higher. Take it and turn it, and then select it. Nudge it just so that it's nice and selected. Come up here and then fill it with black. And then come to edit and do define brush preset for brush sample. I'm going to get rid of this probably. Hit OK. Come over to my experimental thing. You can see what it does. Not exactly what I want, but you could layer it if you wanted to. So we're going to go back over to brush settings, and once again, brush to tape, brush tip shape, brush to tape, brush tip shape. We're going to extend that out. Shape dynamics, we want to go in the direction. See, if I don't do that, if I just do, see what it's going to do, that's not what I want either. But by changing the shape dynamics to direction, that's what it does. It really changes the ballgame. Right, and so then, you could fill in, if you were drawing an animal, right, you could fill in, although this doesn't exactly look like fur, but it's fine. Right, and it fills in quickly. You have like the eye coming here, and you would have it coming down to the nose, and then the mouth coming off of that, right? You can see how this would quickly fill in. Kind of looks like wheat to me and not anything special. But that's the general idea of how you would do it. I have some brushes that I've made that I like. This one I'm just going to delete. And then change because it still thinks I'm on it. So I hope that helps. It's just, it can help speed up your workflow. That's really all there is to it. It's basically taking that hard round brush, right? Like if I took that, I'm making all these lines, and instead being able to do a swipe and get all of this in one swipe all the way up, that's significant. That's a significant time saver if I ever used it. So if you ever wanted to draw my style and you wanted a way to speed it up, creating your own brushes is a way to do that. At least that's what I would recommend. I'm trying to think if there's anything else you need to know. Just remember to save it as black. We went through that a couple times. If you want it like fully, like not transparent at all. Let me see. I think I have some of my transparent brushes still. So when I was first doing it, I didn't understand that. I don't know if I deleted them. Some of them look like I might have deleted them. Oh yeah, you can see, right? Like, if I drop this down, it's way too big. See, I make that 500. And come up here. Right, this is one of the transparent ones. I saved this one as white instead of black. But it creates a cool effect because I can layer it up. But you can see if you come in, that's transparent at the edge. That's not doing a full solid opacity. It's that little bit transparent. But you know, if you're building up effects or layers, or you want, you know, something that looks like wool or cotton, or a dog or an animal that has, you know, this really kind of frizzy hair, it would certainly work if you're building up on top of existing color. Versus when I have a solid brush, you know, where when I draw this and I zoom in on the edges, right, it's solid. It doesn't have that same, you see how that's so faded here, and this is not. So, you know, it depends on what you want to do. I like the solid. I think you can still get a fur effect using a solid brush, but what I'll do sometimes is I'll change, you know, different, you can see like it's a little brighter through here, it's a little less bright here, so I'm changing my pin pressure as I make a single brush, and that allows it to create kind of that layered effect that saving the brush as white would do, where you're layering it on. At least that's just my opinion. But when I first started, I didn't realize that saving the brush as white versus saving it as black would make all the difference. So save your brush as black, and make sure that it's selected when you're trying to create the brush preset, which is under Edit, right? And you can see here, nothing's selected, so I can't define the brush preset. I'd have to select it first. And then, you know, come over here to brush settings, and then when you're done with that, come down here to the tool, to new brush preset, to save the changes that you've made on the brush settings. So, all right, so that's how you define your brush presets in Photoshop, how you create a new brush to help. I hope that's helpful. In the floating nether next to me, I have other videos of art tutorials I have done, and I will see you all soon. Thank you so much. Take care.